Hey guys, Colton here. We'll get back to the podcast in just 1 minute. I just wanted to let you know that my new book, 24 Rules of Masculinity, is officially out. If you've been resonating with the topics we've hit on in this podcast, discipline, purpose, identity, what it means to be a man today, this book was built for you. It's a straight talking guide packed with hard lessons, biblical principles, and the kind of clarity that I think a lot of us are starving for. So whether you're just starting on your journey or looking to get back on track, I wrote this to be something that you can pick up, apply, and carry with you. You can find the 24 Rules of Masculinity on Amazon and through the link in the description. I would love to hear what you guys think. Now, back to the episode. Welcome back to Chasing Masculinity. Today, I want to talk about the gym and the vanity around physical fitness. I think most guys can admit that there is some level of vanity, if not it being the sole reason that they started going to the gym and lifting weights. It certainly was that way for me. You started going to the gym to look better, but then what keeps you going when the mirror isn't enough? Let's be honest, most of us didn't walk into our first gym with noble intentions. We wanted to look better. We wanted to feel stronger. Maybe just prove something to ourselves or to somebody else. And while that might get you started, it definitely isn't going to sustain you. At some point, you're going to have to choose between chasing vanity or building discipline. So this episode is not going to be about six-packs and abs or Instagram clout. It's about the deeper purpose behind physical fitness, how it shapes men into better leaders and better protectors and better providers, because real strength isn't about being admired, it's about being prepared. At Chasing Masculinity, that's kind of our mission. It's simple, to help men pursue that strength and responsibility and purpose through these timeless masculine principles. And fitness, it plays a big, critical role in that pursuit, not just for appearances, but for stewardship. And Scripture reminds us of this in 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. That's our foundation for today. So whether you're in the gym for the first time or have been lifting for years, let's talk about how to get beyond that vanity and build a body that serves our greater mission. Let's get into it. All right, so I want to start by talking about my own fitness journey. I started my fitness journey years ago when I was halfway through high school, and I began training from a place of vanity and mostly insecurity. I was highly aware. I was hyper aware of how I came across, of how I looked, of how I was perceived. And because of that, obviously, any 15, 16-year-old in high school isn't going to like who they are. They're going to always feel insecure. That's just kind of a part of going through puberty and growing up in that stage of life. But because of that, I didn't like the way I looked. Obviously, I thought, okay, because I am so aware of how I am coming across to others, and I know a lot of that was probably body dysmorphia in its early stages, I wanted to better myself. I wanted to look better. I didn't want to be the skinny, fat kid. I didn't want the acne. I didn't want to smell bad, all the other things that come along with puberty in high school, because I started off as kind of a chubbier kid. I was pretty large. I was usually the fattest one in my grade. And what that did was it led me down some not so great nutrition habits. And then I got too skinny and you could see my bones, but I still had this fat on my stomach. It was this weird skinny fat combination that I think a lot of guys have nowadays,
where they're not muscular and they're not fat, but they certainly have an above average amount of fat on certain areas of their body. And that plagued me, and it got me into the gym. And no, my nutrition was terrible, and I didn't know how to eat properly. And I'm sure my form was terrible, but I was there. I was trying to fix the mirror. I wanted to look different shirtless. So that's what got me there. It was this obsession with this body image, and it created this cycle of disappointment and comparison and of naturally shame, because that's where all that's going to lead to if that's the only reason that you're there. I didn't start with discipline. I started with ego and some sort of need for validation. And maybe my case is extreme, but I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, wanting to get into the gym because the way that they look in the mirror shirtless isn't what they want. And this created a struggle. There was a constant comparison to these unrealistic physiques that I started seeing popping up on Instagram, which started becoming really popular when I was in high school. I saw these models and these influencers and these people who, at a very young age, look very different. And yes, some people are just naturally gifted. Some people are truly hard workers, but that's the fraction of a 1% that you're seeing, but it just messes with you in those ways, especially as you're in that developmental stage. There was a desire to look like a man before actually even becoming one. I didn't have a single hair on my face. I was littered with acne, and I don't even know if my voice had dropped yet. And yet here I was wanting to look like these 35-year-old bodybuilders. This self-image, it was tied to this surface level results rather than the actual tracking of internal progress. There was a shift, though. There was a turning point that came when strength and health started becoming more fulfilling than just aesthetics. And I unfortunately admit that this happened much later, very recently, and I still probably rely a lot on aesthetics based on the way I train. I train like a traditional bodybuilder, but that's just the sort of training that I've fallen in love with, and I like the results that it is able to give me. However, it wasn't until recently, in the past few years, that the switch flipped from maybe being over half of the reason I work out is because of my aesthetics to over half the reason I work out is because I want to be healthier, because I actually want to pursue strength and become stronger and become a better version of myself, see what my body's actually capable of. And maybe that's only now 51 to 49%, but at least I'm on the other side of that fence, and I'm still working towards crushing that hedonic vanity that started me on this journey. When I started to lift heavier, my focus actually started shifting on how I looked to what I could do. It was actual result driven in the moment, which might sound short-sighted, but it actually helped me shift my perspective into the long-sighted because I could see what my body is capable of, and I could see what this journey was leading me down, and I wanted to better myself, not just look better for others. And like I said, this is still a battle today, but I'm becoming more rooted in this discipline than this desire for approval. And my wife certainly helped me on this journey, no doubt. She's big into fitness, she's big into nutrition, and she studied physiology in college. So she's definitely helped me get on the right track of how to train properly, prevent injury, etc. But also to see me for who I am and the progress I'm making, and not just love me for a six-pack. So the key insight to my journey here is I think I started the same way a lot of men started, coming from that same place. The gym, it seems to attract brokenness. But through hard work and consistency, it can then become a forge for wholeness. The mirror can be the enemy or it can be the measuring stick. The key is going to be what you're measuring. So now I want to transition into fitness and the masculine identity. And I want to start that by talking about why physical strength matters. Maybe that's not what you're going to the gym for. Maybe you are a marathon runner and all you care about is distance, and weights are just going to inhibit your progress. But I think physical strength matters to a man, and not just in the stereotypical lift strong weights and you are man gorilla mindset. No, I think there's some actual true benefits, both obviously physically and mentally. So a man who cannot carry weight, both physically or even metaphorically, can't lead. And that's the job. That's the role of a man, is to lead. Fitness isn't just personal. It's not just derived from the sense of, I want to look better, I want to make myself better. It can be preparational. You can train your body to work hard when you don't want to help carry your future family. You can train hard, train like you don't want to handle life's burdens rather than avoid them. You're confronting these things head on. This directly ties to this masculine stewardship. Strength is a gift, and every gift has to be stewarded towards others, for others. That's how you keep it from becoming hedonic and self-serving. 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20, like we said in the beginning, your body is not your own, it's just a vessel. You are a steward. Caring for your health honors God, protects your family, and it's going to set an example for others, other men, your children, your wife, whomever. And you have to do this by rejecting this weakness as a virtue. Modern culture, it tells men that being soft, being passive, being non-threatening is ideal. But passivity creates chaos. Strong men are going to bring order, and strong men are not passive. So as you live in passivity, as you live in placidity, you are allowing weak men culture to take over. And you are allowing that to impact your life. You are allowing yourself to become a weak man if you're not constantly pursuing strength. That doesn't necessarily always mean physical strength, but I think that ties in greatly to it. It's not about being dominant. It's about being dependable. You can be somebody who shows up and has discipline and consistency. That discipline equals masculinity. Men who are able to master their bodies are often able to then transition and master their minds or master their homes, master whatever calling they have in life. And if you don't have that sort of discipline, the gym is probably the easiest place to start because of the tangible and immediate benefits that it is able to cultivate. So how do you train? How do you go to the gym for service rather than just attention? The difference is actually in the intent. It's the reason why you're there. So there's vanity, like we talked about in the beginning, what got me in the gym, what I think gets a lot of guys into the gym. They lift for praise. They want to have everyone look as they lift the heaviest weight in the gym, like a power lifter. Or they lift for aesthetics. They want to look good. They want to flex in the mirror in front of everybody. Or they just want validation. They want people to see them as the hard work they've put in. But to flip that on the other side, it's discipline. So you train for endurance. That's that longevity in life to make sure that you're the healthiest version of yourself. Or you train for protection, to not be a weak man when the moment comes where you have to step up and protect. Or your mission in life, this discipline that it's cultivating, allows you to better pursue your mission in life. What vanity in the gym looks like is gym selfies and these shirtless thirst traps, or this obsession with abs and angles and trying to get whatever perfect picture you can to show others what progress you've made, how good you look. And I'm not saying that flexing and doing all of those things, fasting to see how chiseled you are inherently bad, because that's how you might check progress. Maybe there's a reason you're doing that. Absolutely. But if that's the reason you're there, if that's the driving factor, if you're there only to get to that point for others, that's when it becomes vanity. Or it would be things like skipping leg day to prioritize those mirror muscles. If you've never worn shorts to the gym because you're scared of the way your legs look, or because you've never hit legs, maybe that's a reason that you're there for a different reason. You just want the biceps, not the functionality, not the strength. So that's the difference between vanity and then masculine fitness. What masculine fitness looks like is, can you actually carry your child up a mountain trail? Can you actually fight mentally through a long workday or work week and then still come home and show up for your family and do the things around your house and spend times with your kids when they need it? Are you able to push through the tiredness and the pain and the exhaustion to live up to your duty? Can you lead others into discomfort and then growth? That's what masculine fitness looks like. It is training the muscles to train the body. Your body doesn't follow your mind. Your mind is going to follow your body. You have to do the actions and then your mind will follow. You can't make the decisions and then expect your body to just follow your mind. You have to do the things before you actually think about the things that you are trying to become. It sounds weird, but you have to lead with your body and your mind will follow. And that's how you can also temper your ego, because ego, it's going to exist in every gym. And maybe that's okay when you use it as fuel. If you're using it as motivation in the moment to lift harder, train harder, stronger, more reps, more weight, if that's what's getting you in the gym in the first place, it would be like going to a mega church that maybe doesn't preach the word and only prioritizes a concert every Sunday. But if that's what gets you into the faith, maybe that's your barrier to entry before it can lead you on a better path. But when that ego is unchecked, it can trap you into this comparison or just injury or burnout. And if ego, it leads you to burnout, then what's the point? Because you're just going to end up back to square one, but with an ego problem. You have to use your training to also push others up, not just keeping others looking at you. If you go to the gym to be the strongest man only so others can look at you when you're lifting your heaviest weights, rather than being able to help others lift their weights, then you might be there because you are there for ego issues, or you're there for an ego-centered workout. You have to reframe the goal. Don't train to be seen, train to be ready. Yeah, you can have a goal in mind, you can have an aesthetic in mind, you can have a weight you want to hit in mind, but train to hit that, to be ready, not because of how it's going to make you look. Fitness, it's not about being admired, it's about becoming equipped. So, how do we have this strength without this arrogance? And maybe that's not 100% possible, living as a broken man in a broken world. But how can we approach that? How can we orientate ourselves towards having strength without arrogance? One, you have to balance confidence and humility. So that confidence is walking with your shoulders back and knowing that you've paid the price in the gym. And then having that humility. So not letting your body be your brand. It's a tool, not some sort of trophy. There are some red flags of vanity too. So you're always talking about your workouts. That's all you care about. Or you're constantly flexing for attention, maybe online or in person. Again, I'm not against flexing, but if you're doing it in the mirror that's in front of everybody, and it's not immediately after a set, it's not immediately after you get a pump, or it's not for an immediate benefit, it's just to flex in front of others, that's probably a big vanity red flag. And then also needing others to notice your progress or gains. If you're constantly needing that validation to keep you going, that means you're there for vanity. So what is a healthy masculine posture to have? Well, let your strength speak through your actions, not your words. So be the guy that people can trust to carry the heavy box, not the one who just brags about how strong he is. Use your strength to actually serve, to protect, to encourage. I know that sounds like that weird cliche that never comes true about, oh, you're the guy who's known for the gym because you think it's functional, so you can carry heavy stuff, but you never actually do. They're not functional muscles. I can say it took me years, probably 7 years, to get where I am now. And yes, some people just know me as the guy who works out, or they know that I'm really into fitness. But I can assure you, because of that, people do come to me for those specific reasons. People will come to you if you dedicate yourself and you become strong. People will say, hey, I need help moving this heavy box. I need help moving. I need help carrying my kids. Whatever it is, you can actually become the guy that is able to use his strength to serve others. It is functional, regardless of how you train. You just have to keep at it. That's that discipline. You have to use your strength to serve others and to protect. It's not to say that you can crush vanity. You're still going to feel the pull of vanity at times. You're going to look in the mirror after a pump and see, wow, I've never looked this big before. I look really good. I wonder if other people see how good I look. But if you've built those systems around truth, not feelings, it can protect you from slipping in to completely self-serving vanity. When you focus on the function and growth and God's glory, that vanity is going to fade, and that purpose of why you're there is going to continue to deepen. There's also a spiritual side of fitness. So, first of all, we are made in God's image. Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. Your body's not a mistake. It's God's craftsmanship, not a project for public display. Your body is made for something great. Think about if you put in pure dedication and effort in physical fitness and nutrition, what could your body naturally look like at its peak? That's still God's image. That could be his plan for you, sculpting this body that he's giving you into something that he's made it capable of. Every rep is an opportunity to actually honor that design. There's also fitness as worship. Going back to our grounding verse, 1 Corinthians 16:19 through 20, your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, therefore honor God with your bodies. So taking care of your physical body is an act of obedience, not vanity. This is going to reflect gratitude. It's going to reflect how you are a steward of your body, not just this ambition to look a certain way. There's also this stewardship over aesthetics. You don't work out because you hate your body. You work out because you actually value it. Stewardship means discipline in how you treat what doesn't belong to you. Your body was bought at a price. That neglect or abuse of your body are both failures of stewardship. Then there's discipline as a spiritual virtue. So Hebrews 12:11, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. So a godly man is ordered, not chaotic. The gym then becomes a training ground, not just for strength, but for this submission and routine and humility. That's that humility in stewarding your body, the requirement to take care of it. So how does all that tie into masculinity, let's say? A man who disciplines his body is going to train his soul. And men who lack that physical discipline usually lack other spiritual order too. They chase these feelings over formation. So what would my advice be for that insecure gym rat? 1, start where you are. There's no reason to think that where you are right now is wrong. Most men begin their gym journey from a place of insecurity. And you know what? That's okay. Again, if that's your barrier to entry, if that's what makes you show up, then that's just where you have to start. You don't have to already have perfection before you start. If vanity got you through the door, then turn that into discipline and growth to actually keep you there. Next bit of advice is simple. Keep going. The worst thing you can do is quit because you're not where you want to be yet. Let's say your motivation is wrong. You're there for vanity only. Your habits can still shape the right mindset over time. If you're only there for vanity, this isn't a call to completely stop working out. You still need to keep going. Again, the worst thing you can do is to stop for whatever reason. The next is your progress is going to shift your priorities. As you get stronger, your goals are going to start to change from maybe I want to look really chiseled, really lean to I want to feel good. I want to live long. I want to lead well. All of these just come with age and time in the gym, as well as your progress. As you get stronger, as you get bigger, your progress will naturally shift what your goals and priorities are. If your goal is only ever to bench 225 and you hit that within your first 6 months of lifting and you never change your goals, what are you going to do? Just quit and walk away? You hit it and you're done for life? No, you're going to keep moving up the weight. You're going to keep moving the goalpost, and that's that progress that's going to shift your priorities. So even if you're there for a place of vanity now, as you progress, that will change. You just have to be aware of it and seek that change. The next one is vanity cannot sustain you. So you have body dysmorphia. It's pretty common in the gym. I think anybody who actually goes to the gym long enough will develop body dysmorphia. It's an unfortunate side effect of working out consistently. There's also that comparison and perfectionism. If you're constantly seeing things on social media or working out in public gyms where there are others around you, These are going to burn you out if that is all you're chasing. That delayed gratification of knowing that this consistency over time, that is the road to maturity. You won't be able to see abs in a week if you just started, but you will begin to see the character change within a year. So celebrate this function over form. What does that mean? It means the function of showing up and going through the efforts. That is what you need to keep at. That is your number one priority, is making sure the discipline gets you in that door every day. And don't avoid the gym because you don't, quote unquote, look the part. No one looks the part when they start. And I can tell you, people who look like model humans who've been in the gym for decades and are just at peak physical human fitness still don't like the way they look. They still see room for progress and improvement. So if you think that you won't start because you don't like the way you look, then you're never going to start. So don't even have that as an excuse, because no matter what level you're at, that will not go away. The most jacked guy in the room still had a day one, too. So go and start your day one. So what are some practical anchors for consistency? 1, your non-negotiables. That would be resistance training. Every man, I don't care the age, you need to go lift something heavy regularly. Building muscle, building bone density, it's going to build confidence and it's going to build resilience, both physically and mentally. I think a man needs to lift some sort of heavy weight. The next, I hate to say it, cardio and stretching. They may not be sexy, but they do create longevity. I'm not good at this either. I try to stretch a few times a week, try to hit cardio once a week. I hope it increases with age. I'm in a state right now where I can focus primarily on weight training, but you still have to do them. It's going to keep your joints good. It's going to keep your mobility up. It's going to keep your heart healthy. These are all parts of masculinity too. You cannot neglect one key point of physical fitness and put all your eggs in another key point of physical fitness. It's going to create imbalance. All right, the next anchor for consistency is no gimmicks, just grit. So don't chase fads or hacks. It's about consistency. It's just about showing up every day. Just walk through the door. Lift something hard. Have a bead of sweat go down your forehead. Push yourself to the limit. Don't lift the lightest weight on a machine for 8 reps when you can do 1,000 at that weight and think that you're done. It's not about the number. It's about the effort, the grit you put in. And then you need to rest and repeat. Keep going. All right, the next is train like a grown man. Discipline is when you work out, even when you do not feel like it. Do you think a grown man who provides for his family wakes up in the morning at 5 a.m. and thinks, man, I really don't want to go to work today, so I won't? No. Even on his worst day, he needs to get up to provide. It's the same for a gym. Train like a grown man. Show your family, show your wife, show your kids. You don't just chase dopamine. You actually live on that principle. You're going to show up even if you don't like it. I heard an interview with Jocko where he told one of his daughters after a workout that he really didn't want to be there. He really didn't want to do it, but he did. He showed up anyway. And that surprised her so much because it's Jocko. It's the guy who does the hardest possible thing on the planet for fun, who wakes up at 3 a.m. and trains every day and does all of these hard things. Even he doesn't want to show up sometimes. Do you think that you're going to get to a point where you're always going to crave the gym? Maybe, but probably not. There's still going to be off days and you still have to do it. The next is schedule it like it is a meeting. Put it on your calendar if you are not consistent at the gym. Make sure it's there. When you're planning out your week, put it on the calendar every day you're going to the gym and exactly what time, and don't let anything else interfere with that. Treat your workouts like they matter, because they do. The last bit of advice that I have is anchor it in identity. So motivation is going to die when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when you're bored. Discipline is going to survive when your training is tied to who you are, not just what you want to look like. So finally, let's get into a little bit of application for this. First, I want you to ask yourself, why do I work out? And what do I hope it gives me? Be brutally honest. Is it vanity? Is it status? Is it health? Is it a mission in life? Next, ask yourself, how does my physical fitness impact my relationships, my leadership, and my peace of mind? Are you stronger for others or just in front of others? Then I want you to embrace a spiritual challenge as well. Pray before or after every workout this week. Just ask God to purify your intent, thank Him for your body, however it looks like, and ask Him to strengthen you for the work that you're called to do. There's also an optional habit builder if you are really struggling getting going in the gym. You can create a simple ritual that keeps you going. Maybe it's a Friday reflection and planning for the week ahead. Maybe there's a Sunday stretch and scripture. Maybe you lift and listen. So you're tying these two things together where you have spiritual audiobooks during a warm-up or cardio session. You're tying your spiritual growth with your physical health and growth. This is that combination of good habits that can compound on each other. Taking a habit you already have and compounding the gym on top of it is how James Clear in Atomic Habits says that you can actually add new habits to your life with relative ease. You just take something you're already doing. Let's say you already have a habit of listening to scripture once a week. Just combine that with stretching, and all of a sudden you're going to form a new habit over time. So to sum it all up, maybe real strength starts in the mirror, but it absolutely cannot end there. Vanity, maybe it got you into the gym, but that discipline, that identity that working out, that physical fitness is tied to, and the purpose that it's building inside of you, that's what's going to keep you going. Your body isn't just a collection of muscles or metrics, it's a temple, and honoring it isn't about showing off, it's about showing up for your family, for your calling, for your God. You weren't just made to look strong, you were made to be strong, strong enough to lead and to endure and to sacrifice. That is masculinity. So get honest with yourself. Why do you train? What is the fruit of that effort? If it's only skin deep, then it's not deep enough. Find one way to shift your mindset from that appearance to the ability, from insecurity to that stewardship. And if you're still driven by image, that's okay. Just don't stay there. Keep chasing what's real. Keep building the kind of strength that doesn't shrink under pressure. As a final reminder, keep chasing masculinity, guys, not for applause, not for aesthetics, but to become the kind of man God can trust with strength, one rep at a time. See you guys next time.